Hello, my name is Bill Baxter. I'm an instructor teaching PMP exam prep. I'm partnered with a global training company called Gray Campus. In this presentation, I'm going to talk to you about PTA, the point of total assumption. This relates to procurements, but you're not going to see this in the PMBOK guide. You might very well find it on your exam. You'll also find it in the leading study guides. So here we go. PTA, the point of total assumption. In this contract, we're going to have a target cost, and we're going to have a target price. And we're going to have a way of sharing risk. When we have cost overruns above the target cost, we're going to share those between the buyer and the seller. So there's going to be this thing called a buyer's share, and just this example, we're going to take that as 60%. And the convention for writing that is 60-40. Where the 60, the first number, is the buyer's share of the cost overrun above the target cost. But this isn't going to continue forever. We're going to have a ceiling price, and we'll call that P sub C. So once we reach the ceiling price, any additional cost overruns are going to fall entirely on the seller. So we're going to step through this and see how this works. We're going to look at the cost, the buyer's price, and the seller's profit. So here we go. We have our first dollar of cost, and the buyer's price is going to be P sub T. The seller's profit is going to be P sub T minus the dollar. And this is going to continue up until the target cost. And here, the buyer's price is still P sub T, the target price. The seller's profit is P sub T minus C sub T, and you could call that the target profit. The very next dollar of cost, we're going to start this cost sharing. So with C sub T plus $1, the buyer's price is going to be P sub T plus 60% of that dollar. And the seller's profit is going to be P sub T minus C sub T minus 40% of that dollar. And this continues up until we get to the PTA. And here, the buyer's price is going to be P sub T plus 60% of the cost overrun, which is all the way from the target cost to the PTA, so it's equal to PTA minus C sub T. And by definition, this is equal to P sub C, the ceiling price. That's the meaning of the PTA. When the cost reaches the PTA, the buyer's price reaches the ceiling price. And here, the seller's profit is P sub T minus C sub T minus 40% of that cost overrun from the PTA, between the PTA and the C sub T. Now let's look at the very next dollar of cost overrun, PTA plus $1. Here, the buyer's price is P sub C. That's the meaning of the ceiling price. It goes no higher. The seller's profit is P sub T minus C sub T minus 40% of that difference from the PTA minus the C sub T minus that entire dollar. This entire dollar of cost overrun now is falling entirely on the seller as a reduction in his profit or eventually as an increase in his losses. So that's how this works. Now this doesn't look like a fixed price contract, but in the study guides you'll see indeed they say this relates to a fixed price incentive fee type contract. And if you'd like to see that someplace else, you can look at the United States Federal Acquisition Regulation, FAR 16.403-1, And here you'll see the exact same terminology, and they call this a fixed price incentive firm target contract. Now, one more thing. We're going to take this equation here and solve it for PTA. So, PTA equals P sub C minus P sub T divided by the 0.6 plus the C sub T. And just putting this into more general terms, PTA equals the target cost plus the difference between the ceiling price minus the target price divided by the buyer's share. So this equation here that's the equation you need to know for the exam. And doing well on the exam and getting your PMP certification is nice, but it's also good to understand how this actually works so that when you show up on a client's site, you can not only talk the talk, you can actually walk the walk. Thank you.